Hi. That night, I was half asleep, the sheets tangled around my legs, the room dim with the pale light from our hallway nightlight. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. Just once. No chime, just the vibration against the wood. I wouldn't have looked if I hadn't seen the name. Doctor. That was it. Just doctor. Now, I've never been the jealous type. I used to think trust meant letting things go. I'd always believed in giving space, in assuming the best. But there was something about the way she moved when she reached for the phone. Too quick, too smooth. She didn't check it right away. She locked the screen again, turned it over. Then she turned on her side, away from me. I didn't say anything. The next morning, I asked casually if everything was okay, if she was feeling sick or something. She looked up from her cereal, her hair still messy from sleep, and laughed. "Oh, it's just Dr. Keller. My dermatologist," she said. Reminder system must have glitched. I've been meaning to turn those off. I nodded. Dermatologist. Right. At 2 in the morning. I smiled like it made perfect sense, but something didn't sit right. For the next few days, I tried to brush it off. We still laughed over breakfast, still kissed goodbye in the morning. But the silence between those little moments had a new shape to it. And I started noticing more things. The gym bag she took even on days she didn't go to the gym. The nights she said she needed air and came back with a fresh spritz of perfume on her scarf. Her sudden interest in long walks around the neighborhood. Alone. I used to think marriage was about not asking questions. About trusting the person you love, even when things don't make sense. But now I was learning that silence isn't always noble. Sometimes it's just fear pretending to be grace. The name doctor showed up again 2 weeks later. I caught a glimpse while she was texting at the kitchen counter. She didn't see me watching from the hallway. Her shoulders were slouched, but her face was lit up. That glow you get when you're talking to someone who makes you feel wanted. I hadn't seen that look in a while, and it hadn't been directed at me in longer than I cared to admit. Still, I didn't confront her. I started watching more closely. I learned how her moods changed after those texts. Lighter. Like someone had taken a weight off her shoulders. Like someone had given her permission to forget about me for a little while. One night, I waited. She said she was going out to pick up cold medicine. She left in leggings, a hoodie, no makeup. Said she'd be back in 20 minutes. I gave her a tight smile and watched her car disappear down the street. Then I followed. I stayed far enough behind that she wouldn't see me. At a red light, she checked her phone. She smiled again. Not 10 minutes later, she pulled into a side street near the edge of town. Not the pharmacy. Not even close. A silver SUV was already there, headlights off. She parked, turned off the engine, and sat still for a moment. Then she got out. The driver stepped out too. Tall guy. Athletic. Hair tied back. She ran to him, like something out of a cheesy movie, like I hadn't just kissed her goodbye half an hour ago. They didn't talk. He didn't hand her anything that looked like medicine. There was no awkward hug or quick exchange. Just connection. Familiarity. She melted into him like she'd done it 100 times before. And maybe she had. I drove past without stopping. I didn't need to see more. That night, I laid in bed awake while she showered. I heard her humming. She always hummed when she was in a good mood. I used to love that sound. Now it felt like a ghost of something I'd lost without even realizing it. When she came to bed, she kissed my cheek and whispered, "Sorry it took so long." Pharmacy line was insane. I nodded. "I'm glad you got what you needed," I said. She smiled in the dark and turned away. It's strange. You can love someone so much you stop noticing when they stop loving you back. You tell yourself it's just a phase, that the spark always comes and goes. You convince yourself that being patient is noble. But patience without awareness is just self-deception. I started collecting evidence. Quietly. Not for revenge. Just for truth. Because sometimes, the truth is the only way to mourn something that's still technically breathing. The next time doctor texted, I took a photo of the screen. I looked up the number. Not a clinic. Not even close. He was a personal trainer from the next town over. Single. Popular. Private Instagram filled with shirtless mirror selfies and motivational quotes. I went back through our shared calendar. I saw all the checkups she'd scheduled late at night, always marked with a little stethoscope emoji. It had been going on for months. Maybe longer. And I realized something painful. She hadn't just been hiding a man. She'd been hiding a version of herself she didn't think she could be with me anymore. I thought I was being noble by giving her space. But maybe I'd given so much that I disappeared from the relationship altogether. Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. Because once you say the truth out loud, you can't take it back. And I knew. I was almost ready. Almost. The decision to stay silent, at least for a while, wasn't about cowardice. It was about precision. I knew if I reacted out of emotion, it would become a fight. And fights? They give people room to twist narratives, to make you the aggressor, the overthinker, the insecure one. I didn't want to be a story she told to her friends with a roll of her eyes. I wanted to be the page she never saw coming. So I waited. In those weeks, I paid attention with the kind of focus you only develop after your heart's been quietly broken. Her habits, her new wardrobe, the playlist she blasted while getting ready. More upbeat, edgier, songs I'd never heard before, lyrics about wild hearts and second chances. She laughed more. Not with me, though. I became the background. The roommate who paid the bills and happened to sleep on the same mattress. Still, I played my part. I cooked dinner, cleaned the gutters, left her favorite oat milk in the fridge. She thanked me with distracted smiles, pecks on the cheek that felt more like habit than affection. One night, I sat on the edge of the bed while she got ready to go out, said it was another girl's night. She wore heels she hadn't touched in years, red lipstick that used to be for our date nights. She looked stunning. And foreign. You sure you don't want to come? She asked, adjusting an earring without looking at me. I smiled, keeping my voice steady. You know I'm not the social one. She gave a breathy laugh. True. She left 5 minutes later. And I opened her laptop. I didn't go digging. I didn't need to. The search bar revealed everything. Directions to his apartment, late-night gym sessions, a reservation at a hotel we'd never been to together, booked under her name. I took screenshots, saved documents, compiled it all, piece by piece, until I had a timeline. It wasn't just infidelity. It was a second life. The doctor nickname on her phone was part of a joke between them, something I saw in a text message thread. Midnight checkup tonight, babe. I've got your favorite medicine winking face. I read that and felt my stomach turn, not because of the betrayal itself. I'd suspected it for weeks, but because of the intimacy of it. The inside jokes, the familiarity, the comfort she once shared with me now living somewhere else. Some part of me still wanted to be wrong. I even tried to convince myself she was going through something, stress, confusion, a phase. But then I saw the way she looked at him in one of the videos the PI sent over. They were walking out of a juice bar, hand in hand. She turned to him, laughing, eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about passion or escape. This was her new normal. So I made a choice. Not to beg, not to scream, not to accuse, but to end it with dignity. I called a lawyer, a discreet one, a friend of a friend who specialized in no-drama dissolutions. I moved funds quietly, not to hide them, just to protect what was mine. I found a new apartment across town, small, clean, with a view of the city skyline I used to chase when I was still building my career. She didn't notice any of it. Too busy with late-night workouts and weekend getaways disguised as business retreats. Until one Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen, flipping pancakes, when I heard her come in from her run. She kissed my cheek, breathless, like nothing was wrong. I'm thinking of trying Pilates, she said. All the girls are doing it. Sounds good, I said, sliding pancakes onto a plate. I think I'm going to try something new, too. She raised an eyebrow. Like what? I paused, met her eyes. Starting over. She laughed, assuming I meant a diet or a hobby. I didn't correct her. That afternoon, I printed the photos. Not to confront her, just to make peace with what I'd already accepted. I slipped them into a manila envelope, along with the timeline I'd built, the hotel receipts, the messages, the truth. I left it in my desk drawer. 2 days later, I handed her the envelope. She was getting ready for work, curling her hair in the mirror. I placed it gently on the dresser. What's that? She asked, not looking. You should read it, I said quietly. She frowned, picked it up with one hand, curling iron still in the other. As she opened the flap, her face shifted. I watched her eyes move across the first few pages. Her hand slowly lowered the iron to the counter. What is this? She whispered. You know what it is, I said. She turned to me, eyes wide. Hurt. Defensive. You went through my stuff? I shook my head. No. I paid attention. She stood frozen for a long time, flipping through the documents, each page a little heavier than the last. The color drained from her face. I can explain. You don't have to, I said. I'm not here to fight. Tears welled up in her eyes, but they didn't fall. She reached out, but I stepped back. I just wanted you to know, I continued, that I know. And then I walked into the hallway and picked up the duffel bag I'd packed 3 nights earlier. I'd already canceled my lease co-signature, already updated my mailing address, already taken my name off the shared accounts. She followed me to the door. Where are you going? I paused, hand on the knob. Somewhere that doesn't require prescriptions to feel wanted. I left. No yelling. No dramatic exit. Just the soft click of the door closing behind me. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel crazy. I felt free. But that wasn't the end. Not quite. You'd think walking away would be the hardest part. It wasn't. What hurt more was the silence that followed. The quiet hum of an apartment not filled with her laughter, not shadowed by her footsteps. I thought I'd feel relief, maybe even triumph. But for the first few nights, all I felt was weight. Not grief. Not regret. Just the cold gravity of reality settling in. I didn't block her. I didn't have to. She didn't call. Not once. No frantic texts. No begging. Just nothing. Like she'd been waiting for me to do what I finally did. Maybe she thought it made her clean. That if I was the one to leave, she could say she never asked for it to fall apart. But that's the thing about endings. They don't care who calls for them. They just come. A week after I left, I sat in a diner downtown, sipping burnt coffee and watching the rain trail down the window. A man in a hoodie walked in, nodded to the hostess, and slid into the booth across from me. Eli, the private investigator. He dropped a flash drive onto the table. Didn't think you'd want it, he said. But in case you ever question if you made the right call. I nodded. Thanks. Also, he added, leaning back, your doctor, he's married. 2 kids. Lives 40 minutes away. Wife doesn't know? I stared at the flash drive. Of course he was. Of course there was another layer of betrayal. That's the thing about deceit. It never travels alone. She meet the wife yet? I asked. Eli chuckled. Not unless she's doing checkups at PDA meetings. I didn't laugh. I just pocketed the flash drive and slid him an envelope. Cash. No words. I never watched the videos. Didn't need to. I wasn't interested in reliving it. I already lived it. Every awkward silence, every fake excuse, every bedtime lie tucked between the sheets we used to share. Instead, I focused on the rebuild. I moved into a 1-bedroom across the river. Small, but filled with light. No ghosts in the corners. I started running again, not to escape, but to feel my feet hit the ground. Solid. Real. I cooked for myself. Burned the first few meals, then slowly got better. No more oat milk. Just black coffee and eggs in the morning, because that's what I liked, not what we liked. Sometimes people ask if I miss her. And the truth is, sometimes I miss who I thought she was. But I don't miss the version of me that stayed too long. A few weeks after I settled in, I got a letter. Not a text. Not a voicemail. A handwritten letter, folded neatly in an envelope with no return address. It started with I'm sorry. Said she didn't know why she did it. Said it started because she felt unseen, and then it spiraled. Said he made her feel like she mattered. That she'd always thought I'd leave her eventually, so she did something before it could happen. Then the line that stopped me cold. You always made me feel safe. Maybe too safe. I needed chaos to feel alive. I read that line 5 times. She was right. I did make her feel safe. I gave her steadiness, kindness, patience. I believed in us, even when she stopped showing up for it. And maybe for someone like her, that kind of love just didn't burn hot enough. I didn't write back. There's no closure in trying to convince someone of your worth when they've already decided to gamble it. Weeks turned into months. I saw her once at the grocery store. She didn't notice me at first. She was arguing with someone on the phone, her voice sharp, eyes tired. No glow. No red lipstick. Just her, standing in the produce aisle like a stranger I used to know. When she saw me, she froze. I gave a small nod. Nothing more. She opened her mouth, like she wanted to say something, but I didn't stop walking. I didn't need to hear it. Truth is, I didn't end things because she cheated. I ended things because she looked me in the eye for months and still lied. Because love isn't measured by chemistry or shared playlists or inside jokes. It's measured by the tiny, daily decisions we make to show up for someone. And she stopped showing up a long time ago. So yeah, she hid his contact as Dr. Cute, in a juvenile sort of way. And maybe those midnight checkups felt thrilling to her. Like a rebellion. A secret life. But me? I didn't need a prescription to know when something's dead. I just needed clarity. And once I had that, walking away wasn't hard. It was healing. Bye-bye.